new lecture for digital signal processing. In today's class, we'll be discussing a concept that is called discrete Fourier transform. Right? Before going to discuss discrete Fourier transform or DFT in short, let us discuss what we discussed in previous class. We talked about Z transform and we said that by definition Z transform is x of z, that is equal to summation n from minus infinity to infinity uh, x of n z to the power minus n, right? And after that we also discussed if we, what does this mean, that we take a time domain signal, time domain discrete time signal, and convert into z domain, right? And we also said that the information is retained. So if you compute z transform of a time domain signal, then you can also compute that if you compute z transform of a time domain signal, then you can compute time domain signal of a z transform signal. And we saw there are three methods to do that. One of them is by contour integral. We also derived this equation, right? And another method is long division method, right? And the last one was partial fraction, the most easiest, and we saw how to use this partial fraction expansion to convert a Z transform signal into back to a discrete time signal. Okay, so in today's class we will be discussing strictly DFT, discrete Fourier transform. Discrete Fourier transform. The formula for discrete Fourier transform is given by x of k, that's equal to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi by n times k times n, right? Now if you compare this with formula of DTFT, discrete time Fourier transform, the discrete time Fourier transform is given by x of e to the power j omega, that exists from minus infinity to infinity, x of n e to the power minus j omega n. So if you can see what are similarities, the similarity is both these transforms take discrete time signal as input, right? And what they produce is the frequency response of that particular discrete time signal, right? Now there is a similarity. Then what is the difference? Now focus on this part. What is this? This omega, right? Please don't do that. Okay. So now we have an angular frequency here. If I draw a circle, now this is our omega, right? The omega is, what is omega? Omega is angular frequency, right? This is our angular frequency, and it starts from 0 and all the way up to 2 pi, right? We saw that whatever the frequency of a signal is, it is always normalized to 2 pi, right? And we saw that the spectrum of for DTFT is always periodic with respect to 2 pi, right? After 2 pi, it is going to repeat its pattern, right? So this is what we have discussed in previous classes. So now here you can see, instead of if you compare these two equation, our omega is now, if you take omega from here and its equivalent from here, then omega is equal to 2 pi by n times k. Now what does this mean? This means that now what we are doing, we are taking samples of omega as well, right? For example, if we want to take 8 samples of omega, then for example one point must be here. For example, this is not a good color to work with. One point can be here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Let me zoom it a bit further. How to zoom it? Control plus? No. Okay, let me just draw a circle more clearly so that we can understand it more precisely. For example, this is a bigger circle, right? And we say this is our omega, and omega is periodic with respect to 2 pi. Omega is angular frequency, right? And it is periodic with respect to 2 pi. So from here to here omega is pi by 2. From here to here omega is pi. From here to here it is 3 pi by 2, and from here to here it is 2 pi, right? So now what we are doing in DTFT, we have omega is a continuous variable, right? But in DFT what we are doing is we are taking only n points of omega. So that means we are also discretizing the frequency domain as well. So for example, if we have 8 point DFT, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 and 8. So now this point must be 2 pi by 8 times 1, right? If you want to get this point, that must be 2 pi by 8.1. And what must be this 2 pi by 8 times 2? This must be 2 pi by 8 times 3. This must be 2 pi by 8 times 4. 2 pi by 8 times 7. 2 pi by 8, 4, then 5, then 6, and 2 pi by 8 times 7. Now you can see here that if I take 2 pi by 8 times 8, then it's again 2, it is equivalent to 2 pi by 0. So means all we need is n minus 1 points. So our this k exists from 0 to n minus 1, right? So in nutshells we can say the frequency spectrum of DTFT, for example, is, for example, this is, for example, this is spectrum of DTFT. It must be periodic, but we are just we want to see how it is sampled. So what we are doing is we are taking n minus 1 samples of this spectrum. So from here, and so on, right? So we are taking n minus 1 sample of spectrum as well, right? Certain points to remember about DTFT is that DTFT is always computed for time limited signals, for time limited signals. That means our x of k is from summation n from 0 to n minus 1 x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi by n times k. Now this is our omega, sampled omega, and n, right? So this is how we can compute the DFT of a time domain signal. Okay, now another thing is, if we compute DFT of an x of n, we represent it with x of k. To compute the reverse, if we have frequency spectrum, sampled frequency spectrum of a discrete time signal, then we can also compute time domain signal as well. So if we have x of k and we are interested in to compute x of n, then a concept used is called inverse DFT, inverse discrete Fourier transform, and it is given by x of n is equal to 1 by n summation n k from 0 to n minus 1 x of k e to the power positive j 2 pi by n times n times k. Okay, so let me summarize it. So by definition, discrete Fourier transform is given by x of k is equals to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi by n times k times n. And if we wish to compute inverse discrete Fourier transform, then we use this formula x of n is equal to 1 by n summation n from 0 k from 0 to n minus 1 x of k e to the power minus j 2 pi by n times k, where n is from 0 1 2 3 up to n minus 1. Now remember one thing, that DFT and inverse DFT is always computed from 0 to n minus 1. We don't go beyond this. Beyond this is a forbidden region. Negative side are greater than n minus 1, because at n sample what you get is the same value as x of 0. If you compute x of 0 or x of n, you get the same result. So if a signal was time limited and you computed its frequency domain using DTFT, and if you compute again, if you reverse the process and again compute a discrete time signal, then what you get is a periodic signal that is repeated after n minus 1. So that's why we are not allowed to compute any coefficients beyond this limit. Otherwise our aperiodic signal will be forced to be converted to a periodic one. So this is what we cannot do. Okay, now enough of this talk. Let's we have another concept that is called twiddle factor, Wn power n power k, that is equal to e to the power j 2 pi by n. Let's forget about this one. This is called twiddle factor or phasor. What does it do is it helps us to rotate on this omega axis and select at which particular frequency we are talking about, right? So it is called phasor, or it is also called twiddle factor, right? So if I replace this value with this dual factor, then our x of k becomes n from 0 to n minus 1 omega x of n times total factor power n power k. Now you can see it's a bit of unfortunate that each time when we used to compute the frequency spectrum of a discrete time signal, here we always had minus, but because in literature this total factor is e to the power minus j2 pi by n, so now we have a positive sign here, but we cannot change it because it is how the literature is being written, and now we cannot change it. And if you wish to compute the discrete time signal from DFT, then you can use this formula n from 0 to k from 0 to n minus 1 x of k omega n power minus nk, right? So you can see in many websites, on many books, these possible formulas for DFT. So you must not get confused that we are computing the frequency spectrum and now we have here plus sign. That is not possible, right? But because this wn total factor is e to the power minus j2 pi by n, so that's why we have a positive sign here. So positive multiplied by negative is again positive. So let us compute an example. Let us see by an example. For example, if we have signal x of n that is equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3, and we have to compute its DFT, right? We have to compute its discrete Fourier transform. Then by formula we know that x of k is equals to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi by n times k times n, right? Now what is n here? What is the length of this signal? We got n is equal to 4, right? And number of points are from 0 to n minus 1. So 0 n minus 1 is 3. So I can rewrite this as x of k is equals to n from 0 to 3 x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 times k times n. Okay. Now let us open this bracket and what we get. Let's solve this summation. So initially n is 0. So x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 times k times 0 plus x of 1 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 times 1 plus 1 times k, right? K times 1 plus x of 2 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 times k times 3 plus x of 3 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 k times, sorry, I mistakenly write 3 here, it's 2 and here it's 3. Okay, so our summation has to be from 0 to 3. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So looks good. Now we got x of k that is equal to x of 0 e to the power. Now you can see this 0 is multiplied with this complete term and it makes it 0. So e power 0, and e power 0 we know e power 0 is 1. Anything power 0 is 1. And x of 1 e to the power. Now you can see, can we cancel this? So what we get? E to the power minus j pi by 2 times k, right? Plus x of 2 e to the power. Now you can see here 2 under 2, 2 to the 4, 2 under 2, and we get e to the power minus j pi and k plus x of 3 e to the power, this gets cancelled and we get minus j pi by 2 times k times 3, right? Our k is from 0 to n minus 1. In this case, n is our 4, so n minus 1 is 3. So we have to compute k for from 0 to 3. So let us put k equal to 0 first. Our x of 0 then becomes x of 0 e to the power 0 is 1 plus x of 1 e to the power, now k is 0, so this complete term would be 0 plus x of 2 e to the power minus j pi plus x of 3 e to the power again sorry, when k is 0, so this whole terms become 0, uh, and this whole terms become 0 as well. So our x of 0 must be equal to, x of 0 is, if you remember what was our original signal, our original signal was 0, 1, 2 and 3. So x of 0 is 0 plus x of 1 is 1 plus x of 2 is 2 plus x of 3 is 3. So our x of 4 becomes what it becomes? It becomes 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 6. So x of 0 is computed as 6. Now you can see this is a not computationally efficient. We have in other algorithm that is used to compute the same DFT but with fewer steps. We will see as we progress with the course. But till now we also need to know how to compute DFT using normal by definition method. So now let's compute x of 1. Then what is x of 1? X of 0 e to the power 0 plus x of 1 e to the power minus j pi by 2 times 1 plus x of 2 e to the power minus j pi times 2, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I have made a mistake. I don't think so. Pi by 2 and this get cancels j pi. So okay. Now because its k is 1, so we have to put each time 1, right? So because you can see from here that now we have replaced this k with this 1, right? So each time wherever there is k, we have to replace it with 1. So this becomes j pi plus x of 3 e to the power minus j pi by 2 times k is 1, so 3, right? So x of 0 we know that it's 0 plus x of 1. Now x of 1 is 1, but we have something multiplied with it. Now let us see what does this equals. E to the power minus j pi by 2. Using Euler formula, can we write it as cos minus pi by 2 plus j sine minus pi by 2? Okay, so this must become cos, cos pi by 2 is 0, so we don't have to worry about it, plus j. Now we are left with is sine minus pi by 2, and we know that sine minus theta is equals to minus sine theta. So this must be equal to minus j sine pi by 2, right? and now you can see from here that sine pi by 2 is 1, so we get minus j. So this complete term gives us minus j plus. Now from here you can see that we got e to the power x of 2. We know x of 2 is 2. What is e to the power? Minus j pi. Again cos minus pi plus j sine minus pi. Now this on pi 0, 2 pi, sine is 0. On cos minus pi, cos is minus 1, right? So from here we get minus 1 plus. Now if you look at here, x of 3 is 3, and let us see what does this term yield. E to the power minus j pi by 2 times 3. Now can I write this as e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power 3? Because according to law of power, then powers are multiplied. So we know this term is equal to minus j, and now we have a cube on this term. So what we get is minus j times minus j times minus j. Minus into minus plus, j is j square, which gives us minus 1, and times minus j. So minus into minus plus, and we got j from here. So we have a positive j here. Our x of 1 is then 0 minus 1, right? Minus j, sorry, minus j, and this is minus 2 and plus 3j. So the final answer is minus 2 plus 2j, right? So we have computed x of 0, x of 1, but we have to go all the way to x of 3. Let us compute x of 2 now. Our x of 2 must be x of 0 e to the power 0 plus x of 1 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4. Now you can see what was our original equation. Now wherever we have k, we have to multiply it with 2, right? Because we have now k is equal to 2. So it's 2 then plus x of 1 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4. Now 2 times 2 is 4 plus, sorry, this is x of 2, x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, and finally x of 3 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4. Now 2 3 the 6. Okay, so this gets cancelled, this gets cancelled, and now from here we get 1 by 2, and okay. So x of 0 is 0, x of 1 is 1, e to the power minus j pi. Now we have e to the power minus j pi, that is equal to minus 1, right? We saw it. And from x of 2 we got 2, and e to the power minus j 2 pi. On 2 pi, cos is always 1 plus x of 3 is 3, and you can see, let me write this term is e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power 6, right? Okay, come on. Okay, or I can write this term as e to the power minus j pi by 2 times 3 whole square, right? 2 3 the 6, and we get the same result. Now we know what does this term is. This is plus j, right? Plus j into again plus j, right? Because this yields us plus j and it is squared, so that gives us plus into plus plus j square, that is equal to -1. So we get -1 from here. So our x of 2 then becomes 0, -1, plus 2 and -3. So finally our x of 2 becomes -1 -3 is -4, and plus 2 we get -2. So far our x of k is 6, -2 plus 2j and -2. Now the last term, because we have to go k from 0 1 2 to 3. Now last term is x of 3. Let me just draw a line here so that we can understand. Okay, so why don't I use another page? So our x of k is x of 0 e to the power 0 plus x of 1 e to the power minus j2 pi by 4 times k plus x of 2 e to the power minus j2 pi by 4 times 2k plus x of 3 e to the power minus j2 by 4 times 3k, right? Now we have computed k for 0 1 and 2. Now it's time for computing x of 3, right? So this is equal to x of 0 is 0, we know that, plus x of 1 is 1, and you can see from here what we get e to the power when k is equal to 3, then we get 3 here, right? So let me write this, j 2 pi by 4 times 3 plus x of 2 is 2 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 and 3 to the 6 plus x of 3 is 3 e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4. Now 3 3 the 9. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so we can see 0, and we know that this is pi by 2, right? And we computed it that was equal to minus j, right? is, is it minus j? Yes, it was minus j. Okay, so plus now we have also computed uh, e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power 6. What was the result? Let me see. I don't want to compute it again and again. So what was this term? This yields us -1, right? So we have 2 multiplied by -1 plus 3. Now what is this term? E to the power minus j2 pi by 4 whole power 3 and whole power 3 again, right? So this yield us minus j, right? 1 by 2, right? It produced minus j or plus j. I'm not sure. Let us compute it, otherwise we will be in big trouble, right? So let me compute again, because we don't want to take any risk. If once we have made a mistake, it will lead into a blunder. Okay, so e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power 3. What does this value gives us? Minus j, and we have a cube on minus j. So minus j plus j, minus j times minus j times minus j. Minus into minus plus j square. J square is -1, and it is multiplied by -1. This is plus j. So we were on the verge to make a blunder, but we saved ourselves. Okay. Now I don't want to take risk here as well. So what we get from here is e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power 6, and we know what does this term is. This term is minus j, but luckily now we have we can write it as e to the power minus j pi by 2 times 3 whole square. So what does this value give us? This value gives us j. So j into j is minus 1. So 2 times minus 1. Okay, and now the last term is the tricky one. So we have e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power 9. So minus j whole power 9 we can write is as minus j whole power 4 into minus j whole power 4 into minus j, right? So j into j is minus 1, minus into minus plus. First of all, this minus will result in a plus. Okay, and now let's compute j into j into j into j. J result minus 1, this j result minus 1, and when they are multiplied we get a plus 1. So from here we get a plus 1, from here we get a plus 1, and we are left with 1 minus j. Okay, so we get from here we say 3 into minus j. So if we sum this up, now we have minus 2 minus 3j plus j, that is equal to minus 2 minus 2j. Now resultant, finally we have x of k, that is equals to 6. X of 1 was 6, it's very easy to compute. X of 1 was minus 2 plus 2j. So minus 2 plus 2j, and x of 2 was minus 2, I think. Yes, x of 2 was minus 2. X of 2 is minus 2, and x of 3 is minus 2 minus 2j, right? So this is our DFT for sequence x of n. X of n was 0, 1, 2 and 3, right? And we have successfully computed DFT, sorry, not DFT. After computing DFT of x of n, we get this signal, right? Okay, so let us see if it really works the same way. So okay, so we got a sequence. What was the sequence? We had a sequence that was 0, 1, 2, right? And we are interested in computing 4-point DFT because the length of the signal is 4. And let's forget this line for a moment, because what we are doing is we can compute DFT of any length. So if I say I want to compute the DFT of 8 points, then I have to embed 4 0 here. So I have done this embedding is zeros of n minus 1 length. Now n is 4, n is our 8. In if we want to wish to compute is n is equal to 8, so 8 minus length of signal is 4, so we have to paid extra 4 zeros in the original signal, and I have done it here. So but we are not interested in it. So we want to compute. Now you can see I haven't written DFT here, I have written FFT. So FFT is nothing but an efficient algorithm to compute DFT of the given signal, right? So what I am doing is I am plotting its magnitude and its phase using subplot. Okay, let's see if it works. Now let us see, it's running. I don't think it worked. So what I can do is I copy this paste text and paste it here. Come on, it's still running. It is still running. You can see this button. Once it shows play button, that means our computation is done, but it is not done yet, so we have to wait. So it's done now. It is done now. This is the phase and this is the angle of the signal, but we want to see the total result of this, and the total result is stored in x underscore n. So if you want to see the result x underscore n, now you can see the result. The first value x of 0 is 6 plus 0 iota. So we had, where did it go? 6, right? First is 6. Second is minus 2 plus 2, right? Minus 2 plus 2. And then we have just minus 2. Yes, we have minus 2. So in MATLAB we got the same. It is minus 2 only. And afterwards, the last value was minus 2 minus 2j or iota, right? So we have minus 2j. So clear. So you can see the thing that took us approximately 30 minutes can be solved using MATLAB within a second. So this is the way to calculate the DFT in MATLAB. All you need to do is use FFT function and give it the length of the signal, and what it will do, it will give you the discrete spectrum of a discrete time signal, right? This FFT is fast Fourier transform. We will also drive this fast Fourier transform, that how to compute, where from it FFT has come and how it is derived from DFT. It is nothing, it is not a separate transform technique, it is an efficient algorithm to compute DFT. We'll see in couple of lectures from now that how FFT is efficient, and because earlier, before advent of FFT, DFT was not used because of its computational complexity. So when FFT was introduced, so DFT started to be used in our communication systems more than anything else. Okay, so now initially, if you remember, I said that if we have a function or if we have a signal x of n, and if we compute its DFT, right? If we compute its DFT, then we get x of k. But we also said that these operations are interchangeable. So if we have a frequency spectrum of a signal, then we can also compute discrete spectrum, and to compute the discrete time signal, we use formula 1 over n summation n from 0 to, sorry, k from 0 to n minus 1 x of k e to the power j 2 pi by n times n times k, right? So this is what we claimed earlier. So if this claim is true, then we can extract this signal from this transformed signal, right? If that claim is true. So what we are going to do next is we want to prove this claim. So we have x of k, that is equal to 6 minus 2 plus 2j minus 2, and I think minus 2 minus 2j. We have to reconfirm it, because if we make mistake in writing the signal, then we will end up in a disaster. Okay, so 6 minus 2 plus 2j minus 2 minus 2 minus 2j, and remember this is our x of 0 this is our x of capital X of 1, this is our capital X of 2, and this is our capital X of 3. So okay, we are on the right track. Now what we wish to compute is, we want to compute inverse DFT of this x of k, right, which is x of n, and that is given by the formula 1 over n summation n from, sorry, k from 0 to n minus 1 capital X of k e to the power minus j 2 pi by n times k times n. Now you can see what is the length of this signal. N is 4, right? So can we rewrite this as x of n is equal to 1 by 4 k from 0 to n minus capital N minus 1. N is 4, so 3 x of k e to the power minus j 2 pi by 4 times k times n. Now if I simplify it, what I get is this value. So let us rewrite it. X of n is equal to 1 by 4 summation k equal to 0 to 3 x of k e to the power minus j pi by 2 whole power k times n, right? We can write it because powers of power then power are multiplied. Now why I have done this, I want to show you something very beautiful. Now we know e to the power minus j pi by 2, we have solved it many times, is equal to minus j. So can we write it, can we rewrite this equation as to make our life easy? Can we rewrite as x of n is equal to 1 by 4 summation k from 0 to 3 x of k minus j whole power k, right? I have done a blunder and nobody has pointed out the mistake that I have done, because we have plus sign here, so this must be plus and this must be also plus and this must also be plus. So e to the power plus j pi by 2 has to be a plus, right? So I have found the mistake, but nobody, I don't know even if someone is listening. Okay, so now it is for example, if we wish to open this summation, now what we get is 1 by 4 x of 0. Now we are opening the summation. We first we put k is equal to 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then we add all those terms. E to the power, sorry, now not e to the power, now we got a plus j here and power 0, because now k is 0, so 0 times n is 0. Okay, next time we have x of 1, because now k is 1 and we have j whole power n, because k is 1 now, right, plus x of 2 again j 2n, right, now because our k is 2 now, plus x of 3 j power 3n, right? Okay, so this is our x of n. Now what if we wish to compute x of 0? That would become 1 by 4 capital X of 0, j power 0 is 1, I don't have to write it again and again, plus x of 1, and now in this case we have n equal to 0, so again this becomes 1, right? Because when n is 0, it is multiplied with 1, we get 0 here, and anything power 0 is 1. Okay, plus x of 2, and this becomes again 0 because our n is 0, so I don't have to say that again and again, x of 3 times 1. What is this? This is our only x of 0. Sorry, this is our small x of 0. We are computing time domain signal. Uh, x of 0 is 6. If you remember, our x of 0 is 6. This is our x of 1, x of 2, and then x of 3. Okay. Okay. Now plus what is x of 1? It is, now I remember even the values, plus now x of 2 is minus 2 and plus x of 3 is minus 2j. So 1 by 4 and 6 plus into minus minus and plus into plus 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 into minus minus plus into minus minus plus into minus minus. Okay, so we have plus 2j, that must be cancelled with minus 2j, right? And we have 6 and we have minus 2 minus 2 minus 2, then minus 6. We got 1 by 4 times 0 and that is equal to 0. And if you really remember that our signal was 0 1 2 3, so our first index is correct. Now let us calculate the second index. So now our x of 1 should be equal to 1 by 4 x of 0 times 1 plus x of 1 j power. Now you know that what was the original equation? Let me see. So we have 1 times n. Now n is 1, so j power 1 plus x of 2 j power 2 plus x of 3 j power 3, I suppose. Okay, so this is our x of 1. Now let us simplify it. We have 1 by 4 and x of 0 is 6 times 1 is 6 plus we have minus 2 plus 2j times j plus x of 2 is minus 2 and j square is again minus 1 plus x of 3 is minus 2j times j cube. Okay, so 1 by 4 6 plus into minus minus plus into minus. No, first of all we have to solve for the multiplication. Now you can see from here, when j is multiplied with this 2, then we get minus 2j, and minus 2j multiplied by plus is again minus 2j. Now when j is multiplied by plus into plus plus, j 2j into j is 2j square, and when it is multiplied with plus we have 2j square. Now minus into minus plus and plus into plus plus, so we have 2 here plus from here j multiply by j multiply by j, so j times j is minus 1 and multiply by j is minus j, so we get from here, let's simplify it. We get minus j, and when minus j is multiplied with minus 2, it becomes plus 2, and so we have plus 2j, and when minus j is multiplied with minus 2j, it becomes plus 2j square. Okay, I hope you are getting it. So now you can see this is minus 2j and this is plus 2j, right? And let me, okay, so 1 by 4 6 and we have plus 2 and we have plus 4j square, right? And we know that j square is -1, so this becomes 1 by 4, 6 plus 2 and -4, right? And eventually this becomes 1 by 4 times 8 minus 4 is 4, and that is equal to 1. So our x of 1 is 1. That's great. We are on the right track. Okay. So we got x of 1. Our original x of k is x of n, and that is in time domain. So we have to write x of n, and that must be equal to uh, x of 0 plus x of 1 j power n plus x of 2 j power 2n plus x of 3 j power 3n. Okay, now we have computed x of 0, x of 1. Now it's time for x of 2, that is equal to x of 0, and I almost forgot 1 by 4 and laid into a blunder, plus x of 1 j square plus x of 2. Now 2 times 2 is 4 plus x of 3, and 2 times 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so 1 by 4, 6 plus x of 1 is -2 plus 2j times -1, because j square iota square is -1, right? And we got plus, and x of 2 is -2, and j square is 1. We know that iota power 4 is 1, right? We don't have to go into the detail now, we have already computed it. And what is this? Okay, so plus, and x of 3 is -2 -2j and j power 6. Now you can see, can I write iota power 6 is equal to iota power 4 times iota square, right? So this, we know this is equal to 1, and j is, so it is -1, right? I hope you get it, and I get it too. Okay, -1, right? Okay, so let's see. Now solving it further, we have 6. Now this is -1, so minus into minus plus, so this becomes plus, minus into plus is minus, this become minus, plus into minus minus, and minus into minus plus, minus into minus plus. Okay, I hope I am on the right track, otherwise we will see in a minute. Because now we can verify, we have input signal and we have computed frequency transform. If we get error, that means we have done something wrong in computation. Now this plus 2, this -2, this -2j, this plus 2j, and we get 6 plus 2 is 8, and we are in process of computation of x of 2. So we have 8 by 4, and that is equal to 2. Great, we are on the right track. Now the last point, x of 3. Now how to compute x of 3? 1 by 4 x of 0 plus x of 1 j times 3 plus x of 2 j times 2 3 the 6 plus x of 3 3 3 the 9. Okay, 1 by 4 x of 0 is 6 plus minus 2 plus 2j x of 0, right, x of 1, sorry, and j cube is minus j, we know that. Now we know that x of 2 is minus 2 and j power 6 is minus 1, right. J power 4 is 1 and j square is minus 1, so it's minus 1, plus x of 3 minus 2 minus 2j, and now we have another situation, j power 9. So how to write j power 9? Can I write j power 9 is j power 4 times j power 4 times j? So I get 1 from here, I get 1 from here, and j, so that's equal to j. So that is raw j. So this is equal to 1 by 4 and 6, and minus into minus plus 2j, plus into minus minus 2j, minus into minus plus 2, and plus into minus minus 2j. Am I making a mistake here? I don't know. Let's solve it further and we will see. And we have now you can see from minus into minus plus, okay, 2j, and plus into minus minus 2j square, okay. So that's what I was thinking, minus 2, and we have minus 2j, and we have plus into minus minus 2j square, right. So this is 1 by 4, and we have 6 minus plus 2j and minus 2j get cancelled. We have plus 2 minus 2. Now j square is minus 1. So we have this thing. So minus 2j minus 2, this is minus 4. Okay, because we have we, if the variable is same, then their coefficient has to be added, okay. So I get 1 by 4. Now minus into minus plus, so 4 plus 6 is 10, 10 plus 2 is 12, and that is equal to 3. So our x of n is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Great. So finally we have done it. First of all, what we did is we computed DFT of sequence x of n, which was 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And what we did is we computed DFT, and that was equal to 6 minus 2 plus 2j minus 2 minus 2 minus 2j. Right, then what we did is we computed inverse DFT of the same sequence that we computed here, x of k, and from that sequence we again extracted the original time domain signal, that was 0, 1, 2, 3. So it really works now, right? So let us see now that can we extract back the same signal from MATLAB as well. Now we know that our signal is x of the computed frequency coefficients are in variable capital X underscore n. Now if I wish to compute the output y underscore n, then we have to use a command that is called IFFT, inverse fast Fourier transform, and we know that fast Fourier transform is efficient method to compute the frequency spectrum of a discrete time signal, or DFT. Then if we wish to compute inverse DFT, then we have to use IFFT. Our spectrum is in x of n, and we have to give it length of a signal, that is 4, I think. Yes. So here we go. You can see we have again get 0, 1, 2, 3, and that is what we have also computed here. So we have done a very fine job here. Okay, is it clear? Now another way to compute the same DFT is by matrix, right? if you remember, we had wn nk, if you remember it, right? And we are in wish to compute x of k, or we say x of n, that is equal to this times our time domain signal. This formula, you may often see this formula as well in literature. So we wish to compute x of 0, x of 1 up to n minus 1 frequency component from this matrix times our time domain signal x of 0, x of 1 up to x of n minus 1. Now if you see, if you progress k from 1 to n minus 1 in this direction, and n from 0 to n minus 1 in this direction, each time we have wn power 0 in first column, so we get 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, right? And then also in this column, because one variable is always 0, so we get also on here, and here we get wn power 1, wn power 2 up to wn power n minus 1, right? Here we get wn power 2, wn power 4 up to wn power 2n minus 1, and here we get w2 into n minus 1, right? And the last term has to be n minus 1 times n minus 1. So we have to compute this matrix first, and once we are done with computing this matrix, then the job becomes very easy to compute the DFT. Now for example, if we have same signal x of n, that is equal to 0 1 2 3, so our n is from 0 1 2 up to 3, and our k is also from 0 1 2 and 3, right? And our omega n becomes w4 nk, right? So if we want to compute that matrix, then we have matrix of 4 length. First columns are 1, and this column is w4 power 1, this is w4 power 2, w4 power 3, this is w4 power 2, w4 power 3, no 2, and this is 4 6, w4 power 3, w4 power 6, w4 power 3 3 the 9. Okay, so we have x of 0 here, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3 as frequency components, and we have time domain signal x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, and x of 3, right? But before going to that, we have to compute the value for w4 power 1, w4 power 2, w4 power 3, and we know that w4 power 1 is nothing but e to the power minus j2 pi by 4 whole power 1, right? So we know this is equal to e to the power minus j pi by 2, and we know this is equal to minus j, right? So I can rewrite this as 1 1 1 1 1, and now we have w4 power 1, that is equal to minus j, and w4 power 2 is nothing but w4 power 1 whole square, right? So when minus j is squared, what we get? 1. Let me compute it. E to the power minus j pi by 2 is minus j, and we have a square here, so minus j into minus j, minus into minus plus j square is minus 1, so we get minus 1 here, and we know that W4 power 3 is W4 power 2 times W4 power 1. So we get minus 1 here and minus j here, right? So we get a plus j. Okay. And from here we have 1. We have already computed W4 power 2, that is equal to minus 1. So we don't need to compute it again. And we have W4 power 4. What is W4 power 2? Can I write W4 power 2 whole square? So W4 power 2 is minus 1. Then minus 1 into minus 1 is plus 1. And we have W4 power 6. So W4 power 4, W4 power 2. So W4 power is 1 and this is minus 1. So we have minus 1 here. Last column 1. And W4 power 3 we have already computed, it's plus j. And we have W4 power 6 we have computed, it is minus 1. And this has to be minus j. I have a feel that this must be equal to minus j, but we have to make sure. Okay, so W4 power 9, can we write it as W4 power 4, W4 power 4, W4 power 1? So this is 1, this is 1, this is minus j, so we are right. Now once we have computed this matrix, our life has become very easy. So we have x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, right? And that is equal to 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 minus j minus 1 plus j minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus j minus 1 and minus j. And then we have x of 0. The value of x of 0 is 0. The value of x of 1 is 1. The value of x of 2 is 2. And value of x of 3 is 3. Now all we need is to solve this matrix and we will get the result. So let us solve it. 1 times 0 is, now we have to take this row and this column first. So we have 1 times 0, 1 time 1, 1 time 2 plus 1 time 3. Okay, and for x of 1, for this x of 1 we have to take this row in the same column. So 1 times 0 plus minus j time 1 plus minus 1 time 2 plus j time 3. Okay. 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 Now for third row, 1 times 0 plus j time 1 plus minus 1 time 2 plus minus j times 3. No, I have made a mistake here. I have to take this row now. 1 times 0 and plus minus 1, this minus 1 times 1 plus 1 times 2 plus minus 1 times 3. Now for the last value, this row 1 times 0 plus j times 1 plus minus 1 time 2 plus minus j time 3, right? So this is the matrix and that will give us the result. So x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3. Okay, so 1 times 0 is 0 plus 1 time 1 is 1 plus 1 time 2 is 2 and 1 time 3 is 3. So our first value is 6. We have calculated first value. Now 1 times 0 is 0, plus into minus is minus, j time 1 is j, plus into minus is minus, plus into plus is plus, so we have 3j. So minus j and plus 3j is minus 2j, and from here we get minus 2. So second entry is done. Now for the last one, for the second last, 1 times 0 is 0, plus into minus is minus, 1 times 1 is 1, and we have 1 to the 2, and minus 1 3 the 3. So we have minus 4 minus 2, we get minus 2. And we have for the last column, 1 times 0 is 0, plus j, 1 times j is j, plus into minus minus, 2 1 the 2, and minus into plus minus, 3j the 3j. Okay, so you can see this is plus 2j and this is minus 3j, so we get minus 2j and we have minus 2. Now luckily you can see this is the same result that we were looking for in the previous method. So this method is relatively easy. Once you find this matrix, it will be very easy for you to compute the frequency component or DFT of the signal, right? So once if you have this signal and if you wish to compute again the time domain signal, then all you need to do is do this thing, right? Take the conjugate of the matrix and multiply it with frequency spectrum and divide with the total time period of the signal, and you will get the desired response. Okay, so I leave this up to you. Try to solve using this method and give me the original signal. If you are capable to do that, that means you have comprehensively understood the concept. Okay, so let me just do it for you, otherwise you may get confused. So by conjugate means wherever there is j, it becomes minus j, and wherever it's minus j, it becomes plus j. So in order to compute again time domain signal, x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, and x of 3, what we need to do is we divide the whole matrix by 1 by n. In this case we have 1 by 4, so this is 1 1 1, and we have 1 1 1. Earlier it was minus j, so it should become now plus j. This become plus j, it's minus 1, and it's, earlier it was minus j, plus j, now it becomes minus j. Let me confirm. Yes, and this row becomes same because in conjugate we don't change the real component. All we need to change is the sign of the imaginary component, right? So this become minus 1 1 minus 1, and I think this becomes minus j, but let us see. This is plus j, so this becomes minus j. This becomes minus j minus 1 and plus j. Let me see. Plus j minus 1 minus j. So minus j minus 1 plus j. Minus 1 minus j minus 1 plus j. Okay. So and we have signal 6 minus 2 plus 2j minus 2 minus 2 minus 2j. Now again let's compute 1 by 4. Let's compute the first one. 1 times 6 plus 1 into minus 2 plus 2j, and plus 1 into minus 2 plus 1 into minus 2 minus 2j, and sorry for my excellent handwriting, I cannot change it. I tried. Okay, so again we have 1 times 6 plus, now this time we got j here, and we have minus 2 plus 2j. Now we have minus 1 here, and that must be multiplied by minus 2, and finally we have minus j multiplied by minus 2 minus j. Okay, and we have 1 times 6, we have minus 1 that is multiplied by minus 2 plus 2j, and we have plus 1 that is multiplied with minus 2, and we have minus 1 that is multiplied by minus 2 minus 2j, right? In the last column we have 1 times 6 minus j minus 2 plus 2j minus 1 into minus 2, and we have plus j minus 2 minus 2j, right? So we are close to the solution, I can sense it. So we have 1 by 4, we have 1/6 the 6, and from here, because it's plus and plus into minus is minus, plus into plus is plus, plus into minus is minus, plus into minus is minus, plus into minus is minus, right? So in from first row we have, this is minus 2, this is plus 2j, this is minus 2j, this is minus 2 minus 2 minus 2 minus 6, and plus 6, so we get 0 here. Great, we are on the right track, I can sense it. Okay, so 6, now we have j here, so j times minus 2 is minus 2j, and j times plus 2j is plus 2j square. We have plus into minus minus, and minus into minus plus 2j, and plus into minus plus 2j square. So this minus 2j and plus 2j get cancelled, and we have 2j plus 2j is 4j, right? And 4j is equal to minus 1. 4j square, sorry, 4j square is minus 4, right? So minus 4j square is minus 4. Then we are in trouble, because what I have done is this minus into minus is plus. Yes. So this becomes 8 by 4. Now the third row, 6 times 1 is 6, minus into plus, minus into minus plus, and minus into plus is minus 2j, plus into minus is minus, minus into minus is plus, minus into minus is plus 2j. So minus 2j plus 2j cancelled. We have a situation here. So this plus 2 and minus 2 get cancelled. And I don't know if I have done a blunder in last calculation, because it has to be 1, but we are getting 2. Let me see. Minus 2j plus 2j get cancelled. We have this 2, and so this plus this is 8, right? So I have to remove it. This is 8 and minus 4, because this, when this is added with this term we get 8, but when these two terms are added, 4j square is minus 4. So again we have, when we divide it with 2 we get 8 minus 4 is 8 minus 4 is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Now it's okay. Okay now. So from here we have 6 plus 2 is 8, and 8 divided by 4 is 2 again, right? Okay, so now the last row we have 6. Now this minus j multiplied with this term. So what we get? Minus into plus, plus 2j, and this is minus 2j square plus 2 minus 2j minus 2j square. So this plus 2j minus 2j get cancelled, and we have this 6 plus this 2 is 8 minus 4j square, and that is equal to 8 plus 4, which is equal to 12, and we divide it by 4, we get 3. So you can see we got again our x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, and x of 3 is 0, 1, 2 and 3, right? So these are the two methods. From either way you can compute the same result by matrix multiplication as well as by using equation. So this is how we can compute DFT of a sequence, and if we wish to compute inverse DFT, same IDFT formula is used, or this method. So let me summarize it for once and all. So for computing DFT, we use this formula: x of k is equal to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 x of n e to the power minus j2 pi by n times n k, or in matrix we say x of this tilde x of n is equal to twiddle factor n k times our time domain signal x of n, right? And if we wish to compute, this x of n, then this x of n is equal to wn power inverse of this times computed frequency spectrum, right? And that has, now this term becomes 1 over n wn power minus nk times x of n, right? Now you can use this formula, matrix multiplication formula or equation, to compute DFT, or you can use this matrix formula. In order to compute the inverse using matrix formula, you have to use this for IDFT, or by, if you compute IDFT by equation, then x of n is equal to 1 over n summation k from 0 to n minus 1 capital X of k e to the power 2 pi by n times nk, right? So this is how you compute the DFT. It is very complex by using definition, but we will see in coming lectures. If we wish to if we change its orientation, if we divide its even and odd parts recursively, and we get, once we reach the we by dividing even and odd, we just end up with one value and we sum them up, then we can get the same result, but the computations must be significantly reduced, and that method is called FFT, fast Fourier transform, right? Fast Fourier transform is not a separate transform, it is just an efficient method to compute the DFT, right? So in coming lectures, we will see how to construct FFT from DFT. And again, I say this is not a separate transform. It is just an efficient algorithm to compute discrete Fourier transform. Okay, I end up my lecture here. And if you have any question, then you can ask.